everyone. So today we're going to be painting our level 2 Impressionism box. It's of a sunset. Hopefully you've already got your palette set up and everything. So we will begin by taking some white and mixing it with your special color, the gray purple. We just want to get a really nice light, almost lavendery color. And I'm adding some yellow just to kind of cut that store-bought quality. I'm going to start by applying this color to the top right corner of my painting. And I'm going to be just covering the sky in general, so feel free to mix in different shades and tints of the purple color. And I'm going to cover the top 2/3 to 3/4 of my canvas, just very loosely. I'm not really taking care to keep the colors separate, just covering it in a general mixing right on the canvas is fine. Next, I'm going to be taking some yellow and mixing some black. Yellow and black provides a really nice, natural kind of green, and I'm not really worrying about about cleaning my brush. So I'm just going ahead and putting it right on the canvas, coloring the bottom 2/3 to 3/4, and I'm just loosely mixing again, not worrying if some parts are lighter or darker. So I am mixing some white here to create just kind of a different color, adding some variation to my foreground. And just continue mixing and filling in until it looks kind of like this. And without cleaning my brush, I'm just going right on my palette. I am mixing a gray. This will be for the trees. So I am taking my color and I am pulling upwards to kind of create the illusion of trees in the distance. Just taking a gray color that's slightly darker now so that it looks like different types of trees maybe, and just blending them in, starting with my brush on the green grass part and pulling up into the sky. And it just breaks up the horizon line. So now I am just going into the clouds. The first layer has completely dried, where I just put the gray, purple, and the white on the canvas. And now I'm going back in and just creating bodies of clouds. I'm keeping my brush strokes loose, and I'm really just kind of putting them wherever I want. If you would like to follow me, you're welcome to, but I'm just covering the sky, creating some interest. So some of it I keep the dark gray purple as it is, some of it I'm adding black, some of it I'm adding white to make it lighter. And down at the very bottom, I'm creating a lighter space. So the bottom left corner I leave pretty much white right now, and create the illusion of clouds moving from the top left to the bottom right of my canvas. Directionality helps your clouds look believable, if it's like they're flowing in one direction. Now I am mixing some pinks and oranges to put in the sky, taking a dot of red, a dot of yellow, and some white, and I'm applying the pink just kind of wherever I want, concentrating my efforts on the bottom left, where I think the sun would be shining and it would be brighter, but then also pulling through to the rest of the clouds as well. The clouds is really fun. It's where you get to play. And there's no messing up. If you don't like the way you do a cloud, just cover it up, keep moving. So now I've made a more salmon color. It's a darker pinky orange. And just taking my brush stroke horizontally and parallel to the bottom of the canvas, just pulling the color through. This gives the illusion of being the bottom of the clouds. And then I'm kind of blending it in, blending it out. There is no right or wrong way to do this. The main goal here is to add interest to your piece. I could have stopped here and the clouds would have been fine, but I kept going because I had other plans. Since this is the majority of your canvas, feel free to take your time on this part. Really put in any colors you want. You can mix a lighter yellow, a brighter pink, whatever your heart feels. And the trick is to blend it. Always blend it without creating a gray, but blending it into the sky to make it seamless. And as you can see, every now and then you can use your fingers. I am a big culprit of using my fingers in a painting. Really, the more layers of color you can make, the better your sky will look. So if every inch of it that you go in and put a brand new color somewhere else, it visually adds to your work. Now that the sky is dry, I'm going to be creating our foreground. So I'm just mixing a very dark, I don't want it to be pure black, but I just added a dot of yellow, and it's almost pure black. And I'm just taking my brush and with an up and down movement called like stippling, just like stippling, I am kind of sponging on some leaves. And I'm just creating a tree shape that I think is believable. And then I just took my brush and created a solid black line where I think the tree would have met the ground, and then building it up from there. And we tried to zoom in here just to show you the delicacy, which I am putting the back tree. I'm keeping it a little bit smaller because things that are farther away from us are smaller. And I'm making it less clear. It's more ambiguous. Sorry, it's a little bit fuzzy. And I'm just going to add a little cluster of trees to the right as well. The placement of these is fine. If you want to follow how I did mine, that's great. I would just make sure that the tree to the front and to the left is your biggest tree. Other than that, the perspective is kind of fine either way. Now take your little brush that we gave you in the kit and put the tree trunks in. Just very delicately getting a tiny bit of paint and pulling it straight up and through the leaves, creating little branches wherever you see. This is fun too, you can kind of play around with this one. The branches really make the trees look more connected and holistic. And you can't really go wrong. As long as you use thin lines, you can't go wrong. Now I've mixed a kind of light green color again with the yellow and black. And I'm just going in and putting what I would say like little shrubs or something, just breaking up the monotony of where the trees connect to the ground, just kind of visually adding as if little plants were in front of the trees. And you can tinker with this as long as you'd like. So I've decided that I want to go back into my sky. And we left this in the video really just to show you that going back in, don't be afraid to do it. You will not mess up what you already have. And if you feel like you messed up what you already have, just keep pushing. You will eventually love it even more than the first time you went through. So never be afraid to go back in, make the colors bolder, break up areas, add colors, whatever you think is going to look good. Play with your brush techniques here too. Use a more dry brush to feather out. Use a brush loaded with paint to kind of gob on these really saturated areas. This is a time for you to explore. Okay, now I am mixing another green color because I decided that yellow streak at the bottom was too much for me. And I am just covering it up because even I do things I don't like. And I just go back in them, change it up. I thought that the yellow was fighting with the sky. I wanted the sky to be the centerpiece. And I felt like the yellow line was the only thing that you look at when you look at the painting. You went straight there. So I want to create more of a visual for your eye to move upward into the sky. So I'm just creating different colors now, mixing them into the fields, really just playing. So what I've done is I've just created a slightly lighter grayish with the yellow and the black, kind of making that green-gray color. And I am just putting a highlight on the top of the tree. So I am only where I think the light would have touched the tree, like the top of the tree branches, and maybe if there were some other little branches sticking out, capturing the light on these areas. So mainly on the top of the tree, mainly on the dome of the tree, I'm adding this light color. My hand is covering it up. I'm sorry, y'all. And there you go. Voila, you did it.